The story of the Kanuri people is deeply connected to one of Africa's longest-lasting and most important empires. To understand the Kanuri today, we need to go back more than 1,000 years to the great Kanem-Bornu Empire. This strong kingdom started around the 8th century near Lake Chad, which was a very important green area on the edge of the Sahara Desert. The empire was started by the Kanembu people. Over hundreds of years, they moved around, married into other groups, and their government changed, mixing with other groups to form the Kanuri identity we know now. Their early history is really about taking control, building a strong state, and ruling a large and important part of West Central Africa. The Kanem-Bornu Empire wasn't just powerful for a short time, it was a major force for over 1,000 years. How long it lasted shows how smart the political and military systems were that its rulers, called the Mais, created. The empire's main city moved over time, finally settling in Ngazargamu, which is now in northeastern Nigeria. From this center, the Mais of the Saifawa family ruled a complicated government, collecting taxes, leading a strong horse army, and managing a huge area. The empire's power reached across what is now Nigeria, Niger, Chad, and Cameroon, leaving a lasting mark on the area's politics and culture. A very important moment in the empire's history was when Islam came around the 11th century. This new religion, brought by traders and religious teachers from North Africa who traveled across the Sahara, was accepted by the rulers. When Mai Hume Jilmi became a Muslim, it started a huge change. Islam wasn't just taken on, it became a part of the government itself. It gave them a system of laws, a way to educate people, and a connection to the bigger Islamic world. This change in religion and culture was very important in shaping who the Kanuri are, making them different from groups nearby, and creating a history that still defines them. The empire's long history had times of great wealth and also tough struggles. Problems within the ruling family and attacks from other groups were always happening. But the Kanuri people and their leaders always showed amazing strength. They changed, rebuilt, and kept their independence for centuries, something very few empires in world history can say. The empire finally weakened in the 19th century because of attacks by the Fulani and European countries taking over, which marked the end of an era. However, the legacy of Kanem-Bornu didn't disappear. It lives on in the traditions, how society is set up, and the shared memories of the Kanuri people. Islam is more than just a religion for the Kanuri. It is, honestly, the most important part of how they see the world, how their society works, and their daily lives. The religion's deep roots, going back almost 1,000 years, have greatly shaped every part of Kanuri culture. They mostly follow the Maliki school of Sunni Islam, and its rules guide everything from how people act to legal matters. Learning about Islam has always been highly respected, with cities like Kukawa and Maiduguri becoming important places for learning. For the Kanuri, their religious identity and their ethnic identity are connected, giving them a strong feeling of being united and having a shared goal, which has helped them get through hundreds of years of changes and difficulties. The influence of Islam is clearly seen in the traditional political system that has lasted even after the empire fell. The most respected traditional ruler among the Kanuri is the Shehu of Borno. This position, which took over from the old Mais, has huge spiritual and cultural power. The Shehu is seen not just as a political leader, but as someone who protects Islamic values and Kanuri traditions. He leads a group of older wise people and title holders, and his court still works as a place to settle disagreements and keep community rules, all within a system deeply guided by Islamic law and customs. This system provides stability and a connection to their past as an empire. Daily life for the Kanuri is organized around Islamic practices. The 5 daily prayers, observing Ramadan, and celebrating Eid festivals are central parts of community life. From a young age, children go to Quranic schools, where they learn to read Arabic and memorize verses from the Holy Book. This education teaches them not only religious knowledge, but also the main values of respect, discipline, and being responsible for their community. Important life events like births, weddings, and funerals are all done according to Islamic customs, showing how central the faith is to the personal and shared journey of the people. This deep connection to Islam has also shaped how the Kanuri have interacted with other cultures throughout history. As devoted Muslims, they were part of a huge network of trade, learning, and diplomacy that connected West Africa with North Africa and the Middle East for centuries. This connection brought not only goods, but also ideas, influencing their buildings, books, and legal systems. The Kanuri became key people in spreading Islamic culture throughout the Lake Chad area. This historical role as pioneers of faith and learning is a source of great pride and continues to shape their identity in today's world. The Kanuri people mainly live in the lands that used to be the heart of their empire, an area that now covers northeastern Nigeria, southeastern Niger, western Chad, and northern Cameroon. Most of them live in Nigeria's Borno and Yobe states, with Maiduguri being their most important city and cultural center. Their language, also called Kanuri, is part of the Nilo-Saharan language family and is a strong symbol of their unique history. While many also speak Hausa, Arabic, or the official languages of their countries, the Kanuri language remains their first language, keeping old stories, wise sayings, and the rich history of their ancestors alive in its very words. For centuries, the Kanuri have been skilled farmers and herders, their way of life closely connected to the dry, Sahelian environment they live in. They grow staple crops that do well in the climate, such as millet, sorghum, and groundnuts, which are the main part of their diet. Many families also raise animals, including cattle, goats, and sheep, which are a form of wealth and are very important for milk, meat, and trade. This way of life, mixing farming and animal herding, has helped them deeply understand the land and its seasons, knowledge passed down through generations that has allowed them to survive and do well in a challenging environment. Trade has always been a part of the Kanuri's way of life, a legacy from their empire's important position on the trans-Saharan trade routes. In the past, they were the go-betweens, helping to trade salt, gold, ivory, and enslaved people from the south for horses, cloth, and manufactured goods from the north. Today, this business spirit continues. Kanuri towns and villages are known for their lively markets where everything from farm products and livestock to modern consumer goods is bought and sold. This involvement in trade, both locally and regionally, remains a vital part of their economy and a key way they interact with neighboring ethnic groups. The everyday life of the Kanuri is very much about community. Society is organized around large family groups, with great respect given to older people who are seen as the keepers of wisdom and tradition. Social events, whether religious festivals or family celebrations, are community affairs that strengthen these bonds. Traditional clothing clearly shows Kanuri identity. Men often wear long, flowing robes called jalabiya or babanriga with special tall hats, while women wear colorful wraps, blouses, and headscarves, often decorated with detailed henna designs on their hands and feet. This clothing shows both their Islamic faith and their unique cultural style. Lately, the Kanuri people have faced a challenge that is bigger and more brutal than anything before: the Boko Haram insurgency. This conflict, which started in their homeland, has caused huge suffering, forcing millions to leave their homes, destroying communities, and tearing apart the social fabric. The attackers, who ironically claim to follow a twisted version of Islamic purity, have targeted the very things that represent Kanuri heritage, including traditional leaders and places of learning. This crisis has tested the Kanuri's famous strength like never before, making them deal with violence and loss every day. It's a deep tragedy for a people with such a long history of government and stability. Despite the destruction, the spirit of the Kanuri people has not been broken. Across Nigeria, Niger, and Chad, communities are working hard to rebuild their lives. When faced with trouble, their deep-rooted social structures and community values have become a very important source of strength. Families are supporting each other, community leaders are working to bring back order, and there's a strong effort to get back their peaceful way of life. International aid groups have helped, but the most powerful force for recovery comes from within the Kanuri community itself, driven by a shared desire to get past this dark time in their history. Even with these challenges, the Kanuri continue to make important contributions to the countries they are part of. In Nigeria, for example, they have produced important people in politics, the military, and education. Kashim Shettima, the current vice president of Nigeria, is a well-known Kanuri leader. Figures like the late General Sani Abacha, a former head of state, also came from this group. Their presence in national life makes sure that the Kanuri voice is heard and that their historical importance is recognized in today's political world. These individuals show the lasting legacy of leadership that goes back to the days of the empire. In the end, the story of the Kanuri is one of amazing endurance. From building an empire that lasted 1,000 years to dealing with the complicated modern world after colonialism and now facing a violent insurgency, they have shown incredible strength. Their rich culture, shown through their language, faith, traditions, and strong community bonds, remains a lively force. As they work to heal and rebuild, the Kanuri are not just surviving. They are actively keeping alive a legacy of strength and adding to the diverse cultural mix of West Central Africa, making sure that the echoes of Kanem-Bornu will be heard for generations to come.